In this video series, I'm going to show you how you can make money from Google Trends. Google Trends can be found at google.com/trends. So, of course, what it does is it sees what is trending in the current searches. So this is the page that comes up first. It's going to show you some of the most popular things that are trending. And then when you roll down, these are our trending stories. And then you'll see over on this side the past 24 hours and a little screen thumbnail over here. So this gives you an idea here. And then if we go over to this little menu thing here and we click on that, we get the menu that comes up so we can explore. We have trending searches, trending on YouTube, top charts, subscriptions, and so on. So we will be going further into how we can use the different sections of this site to help us make money. Okay, so what we want to do next is create a website that we can monetize with Google Trends. So we'll do that in the next video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up your site. What we're going to be doing is setting up a blog. So you have some choices here. If you have absolutely no money, then you can start by using Blogger. Now, this is a way to get started, but I don't really suggest it because you aren't really in full control of your content. Google can remove your blog at any time. So what I suggest is you use a self-hosted WordPress blog. In other words, you are going to be hosting it on your own server. Now, it doesn't cost very much to get hosting. You can get hosting from about $5 per month and a domain name for about $13 or $14 per year. So it's a really low startup cost. If you can find $20 to get started, this is the best way to do it. And this is how I'm going to suggest that you do it and how I'm going to show you how to do it in this series. So the first thing we're going to be doing is installing a WordPress blog. So that's what we're going to go over in this video. If you already know how to install WordPress, you can skip to the next video where we'll start the setup. But this video is strictly on installation. Okay, so you're going to need to have your own hosting account and domain name, as I said, a web space to upload this to. Now, what you want to do is have a fairly generic domain name or something to do with news, all the news of the day or something like that. Todaysnews.com, the most interesting news.com, today'sinterestingnews.com, whatever you can find or whatever you want to use. It's a good idea to use something that's fairly generic because there's going to be all kinds of things that we're going to be putting in here. It's not going to be one subject, it's going to be all over the board. Okay, so what we want to do, go to wordpress.org, and then what you want to do is download the newest version. So just click here, and then we're going to download the zip. And download. Okay, so that's downloaded. So I can go and look at this in my download folder just by clicking on this here. Okay, and then what we want to do is unzip this. This is where all our WordPress files are contained. So if you right click on this, you can just do an extract all through Windows. I also have something on here called 7-zip, which I like to use. And if you want to use that, you can install it for free. Just search for it. I use it because it's the fastest unzip tool. Okay, so we'll let that unzip. Now, like I said before, you're going to need server space. So you can get shared hosting fairly cheap. And what we're going to be doing is uploading this to our server. And to do that, you need an FTP client. And there's one called FileZilla that's for free. So let me open FileZilla here. And this is what it looks like. So on your left-hand side, you have your computer. And on the right-hand side will be where your server will be once you're connected up. So all you have to do to connect up in hostname here, put in your domain name and then in username and password. You put in the username and password for signing into your server. or if you set up an FTP account, you can use that. Okay, and then you just connect up. Now, let me just go back and look at our progress with 7-zip here. We should be unzipped, and it is. Okay, so you'll see right here is the unzipped folder. Firefox has downloaded an update here. Just ignore that for now. And then in here you have WordPress, and then within there you have the WordPress script. So all we need to do is upload this to our server now. So I'm going to go connect to my server on FileZilla. Okay, so here I am with my server on this side. Now, if I upload right into the directory that is visible to the web, my site will display when I type in my domain name. I can also create a folder. So if I do right click here and I do create directory, and then I put my site within there, I would have to type in my domain name / and this folder name. Now I use this domain name for other things, so I'm just going to put it in a folder. I suggest though that you have a dedicated domain name and you put it right in the visible area. That might be public_HTML or htdocs, or it may be in the / directory if it's an add-on domain as I have here. Okay, so I'm going to call this trending news. Okay, and then what we're going to do is roll to the trending news directory and go into it. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to upload all of the files. So I'll go over here to WordPress, and then I want all of these. So I click on one and then click Control A, and that does a select all. And then if I right click and upload. Now this will upload WordPress into its separate folder just like we see over here automatically. So we don't have to worry about that. We just need to let that finish. Now WordPress is database powered. So what we need to do is create a database for it. I'm going to show you using cPanel hosting. So let me go to my cPanel. Now in your cPanel hosting, you should see a section called databases. And then within here, you should see a database wizard. If you don't have a database wizard, then you need to go and set up an SQL database manually in here and then set up a user for it. I'm just going to use the database wizard though. So we go in here. And then we give it a database name. So I'm just going to call it news. Okay, and if it's available, then you'll get a check mark here. So go next step. And here's where we're going to want to create a username. So I'll call this news. You can call it something different if you want. Now, what we want here is a password. The best thing to do is to use the password generator. Now, copy this. And then open a Notepad session and put it in Notepad. Okay, so I'm just going to paste that in here. Move this out of the way. And then we're going to say I've copied it somewhere safe and use password. Okay, so now we have a nice secure password. Now we need to create the user. And then we want all privileges. Okay, and then next step. Okay, now what you want to do is just copy this line here. This has our database name and our username, which happen to be the same, but if they're different, then you need to copy the whole thing. I'm just going to copy it all anyway, and we're going to paste it in here. Okay, there. Now I have everything that I need to do the install. So let's go and have a look at the upload progress. So it's still uploading a bit here, so we'll just wait for that to finish. Okay, so that is now finished uploading. So now what we do is go to the browser and just type in the URL to the location of our site. Okay, so I'll put that in the browser bar. And then we just pick our language. Now we need to put in our database information, so we go let's go. Now we're going to go back to this point, and we pick this is our database name, or this is our username, and the database name is this, which happened to be the same, so I just need to copy it once. So we'll copy that in there, and then we'll put the username in there. Password is here. Okay, now database host, you can find that on your control panel as well. So let's go back there. Okay, so you want to go back to the database section, and then you'll see PHP MyAdmin. Click on that, and you'll see up here on the left it says server, and in this case it says localhost. So whatever it says there is what you need. This happens to be right this time. Next is your table prefix. This can be anything. These are so that you can have multiple instances of WordPress in one database. This is how it differentiates them. I would suggest changing it from WP though. So I'm going to call it TN for trending news and submit. Okay, run the install. Next, we need to put our site title in here, and we can change this later. So for now, I'll just call it trending news. Okay, then we need a username. Say Newsy. And then here you want a secure password, so put something in there. Something fairly strong, not like what I'm doing here. And then an email address here. You should have one that's on the domain name if possible, but if not, you can use another domain. You can use an email address from Yahoo or something like that. And then whether you're going to allow the search engines. Okay, and then once you've done that, click Install WordPress. Okay, so there it is. Now we're going to log in. Click Remember Me here. And there we go. We now have WordPress installed. In the next video, we're going to go over site setup. Now that we've installed WordPress, what we need to do is do our initial setup of our site. So if we were to look at this right now, go to Visit Site, this is what it looks like. So we're going to want to improve the design a bit. And then, of course, we need to get things looking the way we want as far as stuff on the left sidebar here. Now you're free to use any WordPress theme that you want, but I'm just going to go with the default theme here. One of the reasons that we like to use WordPress is because it automatically incorporates responsive design, which means that it will automatically adjust itself to fit smartphones and tablets and so on. So you have one site that works across all devices. So let me show you what I mean here. Let me open an emulator that will open the site the way it would look in a smartphone. So let's look at the way the site looks here. And now let me open it in a smartphone emulator. Okay, so here we have it in a smartphone emulator. And this is the front page. And you'll see that when you click over here, when you tap on it on a phone, you get all the other stuff in here. So if we were to go to one of these, it'll bring up the data and it all adjusts itself to fit on the phone. So you don't have to worry about that. Now the design doesn't look very good right now because we haven't done anything yet, but you see the advantage of this. You will be able to get your visitors from any platform and your site's gonna be functional on all of those. So that's why we are going to use WordPress with a responsive design. And most of the newer WordPress themes that are built by WordPress or that are included in WordPress are already responsive. Okay, so let's go back here and let's go into, go to the dashboard. And then let's go down to Appearance and Themes. So what we see here are the themes that are included with WordPress. And on this version, we have 2015 and also 2014 and 2013, which were from previous versions. These are all responsive. Now, you can use any of these in here that you want. I'm just going to use the default theme, but you can go add new here, and then you could do a search within the WordPress themes directory here, and you could find one that you like here. Just make sure it's responsive. You can also go to Google and do a search for WordPress themes and download one of those if you want. But I'm just going to keep it simple because as long as the site looks decent, it doesn't really have to be anything special. It just needs to be functional. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to use the default theme. So let's go and customize it. So we'll go to customize here. And there's a number of things we can do right from here. Okay, so if we go down here, we have site tagline, and you'll see here just another WordPress site because when we installed it, that was the default that went in there. So you can put something else here or you can blank it out. Okay, so I just said all the best news of the day. So we're going to display the header text. Now the reason this is here is because you can actually use a header image, which we'll get to in a sec. And if you use a header image, you could turn this text off. But I'm not going to do that. So let's go to colors here. And with this one, you can use color scheme. So we have default, then we have dark. And you see that the colors changed over here, the color scheme. And then we have yellow. And then we have pink. And then we have purple. And then we have blue. So this is a really simple way that you can change it. Okay, then the background color. So right now we have it like this. So if we're going to pick blue, we could change the background color. Let's go with, let's try this. So, okay, so you can mess around with it till you get it looking the way you want here. I don't think I want that one. Anyway, find one that you like, or you can do it a different way if you like. I'm gonna just use this one. Okay, and then you can change the text color if you want here, and the header and sidebar background color. So this was part of the color scheme, but if you want to change it, you can make changes in there. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Now, what I was saying about header image before, if you don't want this over here, you could use a header image, and it explains here what it does on this theme. So the sidebar on widescreen and the header on narrow screen. So when you put it on your phone, it'll be over here, and when you're looking at it on a web browser on your computer, it'll be over here. Okay, so it gives you the sizes here, so 954 by 1300. So if you're going to create one, that's the size you need to create it. But I'm not going to, I'm just going to leave it the way it is, but that option is there for you. And then you have your background image. So you can use background image instead of color if you want here as well, the same way. We'll get to widgets in a minute. And static front page, we aren't actually going to use that. So we'll just save what we've done here. Okay, so let's just go have a look now. And then if we were to look at this on our phone now, this is what it looks like on the phone. So it looks a little better already just by doing that. And remember, we haven't put anything in here as far as content goes yet. So that looks better already. Okay, so let's go back into here and we're going to do some more things. Let's just go to the dashboard. Now we need to delete all the default content out of here. So go to posts and all posts. And we're just going to delete this. And we're going to go to pages and all pages. And we're going to trash this. Okay, now let's go over to plugins, and we're going to go to install plugins. And you see here that we have something called Akismet. This is an anti-spam plugin. It'll keep people from spamming your comments, so it's a good idea to enable this. Now, it says it has an update here, so of course you should update that if you're going to use it. So click update now. And then we'll click activate. Now you see here that you need to add your Akismet account. So activate. And here you can either create an account, log in, or enter an API key if you already have one. So go ahead and go into here if you don't already have a key, and then you can set up your account or log in and get your key. So just get an Akismet key, then you'll have to either register or log in here. So this is for WordPress.com, so if you already have one, you can just log in. Okay, so I'm just logging in here. So you have basic, plus, backup, and enterprise options. And name your price here. So you can click get started. And then you can go through, name your price, and get the key. Okay, so that's how you can get a key to use Akismet if you want to use it. Okay, so I just deactivate it for now because I don't have my key handy. So what we want to do now is just go and add a couple of plugins that'll help us out once this site starts getting some content on it. It'll help us out a little bit with traffic. So what we want to do here is go to popular. And then you can either install WordPress SEO by Yoast, as you see here, or All-in-One SEO Pack. I've been using All-in-One SEO Pack for years, so I'm going to install this one. But whichever one you want to use, that's fine. So we're going to activate that. And then we're going to, let's just dismiss this. Then we're going to add new again. And then we're going to go to popular again. Now we want to install a Google XML sitemap. We'll just roll down until you find it here. We'll install that. And we'll activate. Okay, now what we want to do is go and set up the All-in-One SEO Pack. So up here, let's go to General Settings. Okay, and you can tweak these as you like, but there aren't very many changes that we actually need to make. What you can do here is put in a home title if you want, and home description. The description is always helpful with the search engines, and then some keywords can go here. And then down here, you can choose if you want to use keywords or tags or categories. And then the only thing I really suggest you change down here is take off the blog title off the end of these and just have the page title. Take the bar off the end there. Okay, so just do that for all of these. That's optional. If you want to leave it there, you can. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do there. So update. So now this will be available on every post. You'll be able to set your keywords and so on. Okay, so that's all we need to do there. Now let's go over to Appearance and Widgets. Let's take Meta off here. This is the login box that you see on the screen. And then we have our search, our recent posts, recent comments, archives, and categories. It's a good idea to leave these ones on here, although you can switch them around. And you can take the recent comments out if you want, because people can see the comments through the posts. So I have the search, posts, archives, and categories. Now you can change these if you want to. So let's go in here and just call this recent articles and save. And I think that's all I'm going to change there. The next thing we need to do is go down to settings, and then we want to go to permalinks. And then what we want to do is just come down here and do post name and save. So this will give you search engine friendly URLs. Let's go back to settings again, and then let's go over to general and just make sure everything's correct in here. Okay, so this is where we can change the things that we have in here. We put this in during install, and we change this during the themes setup or customization. So you can change your time zone here if you want it to reflect where you are right now. Okay, and then I'm just going to save. Now let's go to discussion. Now you don't have to allow comments on your site if you don't want. It's a good idea to have them on here actually, especially if you have Akismet installed, because you get other people creating content for you. The only problem with that is that you might get somebody putting some bad content on there that isn't caught by the spam blocker, and if you're not checking all these things, you may get some stuff on there you don't want. So it's up to you. Now, I like to turn this attempt to notify any blog linked, allow link notifications from others. I turn those off and allow people to comment on the new articles. So either turn this on or off, depending on whether you want to use it, or they have to fill out their name and email or be registered. So I'm going to have fill out their name and email, enable threaded messages. So you just set all of these the way you want. And then you can have here, email me whenever anyone posts a comment. So if you want to be notified, you can do that. Here, whether they have to be approved or whether they have a previous approved comment, so you can fill that out. And then down here, this is how you can have posts on hold by putting things in the comment moderation or comment blacklist. Well, if you put anything in here, it'll hold the comment or it'll blacklist the comment. Okay, so let's save that. Let's go to reading. This shows you how many posts you can have on the page in the syndicated feeds and whether the feed is going to be full or whether it's going to be a summary. So we can leave this the way it is unless you want to change it. And if you don't want the search engines coming, well, we do, so we're going to leave that alone. Okay, so at this point, we have our site all ready to put content on. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Trends to put relevant content on your site. Okay, so now we're going to get to the meat of the system here, and that is to use what people are looking for to put content on our site and attract the visitors to our site. And then we'll get into monetization after that. But we need to have interesting content on there first. So on the front page here, we briefly went through this before, but we have United States here and we have our categories. This is actually what you want. You want United States and all categories here. Now let's go over to the sidebar here, and then let's go to trending searches. Now this is showing us what is trending right now. So the first one, Rick Ross, and you'll see there's a little bar here that says 50,000 plus searches. Next we have Netflix stock, and you'll see 50,000 plus searches. Now if you look over here, we have Explore in Depth. Click on that. And this is showing the trend for this Rick Ross. So you'll see that we have some interest here, and then all of a sudden a spike today, and it's going down. Okay, so this is telling you the interest over time, the region of interest. Okay, and then it's giving you some states here as well. And then related searches. Now, if you look here, you have search terms, and that's what we're on now. You can also do locations, which you saw before, and time ranges. Okay, so this is just narrowing down what's already on there. So if we look here now, you're seeing over time, this is a longer period of time, the interest in this topic. Okay, and there's our regional again, and related searches. Okay, so this is some useful information that you can also look at. Okay, so back to trending searches. If we click on these, you can see in Google News what this is all about. So, Rick Ross and bodyguard arrested on kidnapping assault charges. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create an article on your blog about each of these trending topics here. Okay, so this is showing how many there are so far today, and then this is yesterday, and then you can load more if you want. So start with today's and get those on there first. So let's just do an example here. So let's have a look at the article. Now we're not going to be wanting to plagiarize this. We just want to read the article, get the gist of it, and then put it on our site. So let's go over here and let's go to posts and add new. Now we're going to want to use categories and tags, and we haven't set any up yet, but the great thing is that we can do that on the fly. If we roll down a little bit, we can add categories and tags right here. So we're going to be doing that. So what we want to do is get the title we want and put it in here. Okay, so there's the title. And you'll see here, remember we set our permalink, so that's what this is doing. It's giving us a search engine friendly URL. Let's click this here. This is the kitchen sink to bring up the rest of our editor. Then what you want to do is summarize the article or go through and look at some other articles and put that inside here as well. Okay, so I got an image of them there, and you can click on the image and you can edit it, and you can do some things in here. So have it aligned left and link to none. So you can do some other things in here, but I got the image in there. And then you go ahead and put your article in as well. Okay, so I put an article in here, and there we go. Now the next thing we want to do is go over here, and we want to add a new category and put in a category in here that makes sense. So I'm going to say celebrities. And then we're going to add. Okay, so we'll be able to choose this next time if we're doing another one on celebs. Down here, we can put the same thing in for tags, or we can use a different tag. So let's use his name. So Rick Ross. And we could also put in celebrities here if we want, but we don't really need it when we have the category. Now remember about the all-in-one SEO plugin. Now we can put the keywords in down here that we want. So for the keyword, let's just put in the title that we used. And the description. And then we can put in the keyword as well. And that's all we need there. Okay, so we're ready to post this now. So we'll just hit publish. Now let's go have a look at our site. And we now have our first post on here. And there it is. So there's our recent articles there. We have archives and categories. We don't have a tag thing in here. We could put the tags in as well. So let's go over here to widgets. Then we could put the tag cloud in. Okay, so that'll do it there. Just having a look. So now we have our tags down here. Okay, so let's go back and we go back to Google Trends again. And then we would do the same thing for the next one and the next one and so on and so on. So you can do as many of these a day as you can fit in. Now that's just one part of it. The next thing we want to do is go over here and then we want to go to trending on YouTube. And what we want to do is put these on our site as well. So let's click on this. Okay, so what we want to do is put this video on our site as long as it has an embed. So you'll see share here and embed. So we can put this embed code on. So what we want to do is take this, do copy, back over here. Now we want to go to posts, add new. We want to paste the title in here. Now we want to go back and we want to get the embed code, which is here. Copy this back to our site here. Now we need to go into text here and then just paste this in. Okay, and then this is going to be under celebrities again. And then we can take this guy's name. And then put it under tags and add. Then again with our all-in-one SEO, so you should fill that all out. And then we're going to publish. Now we could also add a category to it called videos. So let's add a new category and call it video or videos. Okay, and let's just update. So we're going to be building our site up with articles and videos. So let's go and have a look now. Okay, so here is our video and here is our article, and then over here we have celebrities and videos. So you see how this is working out here. Here's our tags. So we're getting content on here. Let's go back to Google Trends again. So we're going to do this with several of the top videos as well. Next, let's go to top charts. And this gives us some ideas of the type of things people are searching on by categories. So we have athletes and who they're searching on in athletes, Canadian teams, Canadians, celebrities, diet, federal politics, and so on. You'll see that there's different things that we can do in here. So for instance, let's go to athletes and Michael Schumacher, however you say it. Okay, so trending athletes, Michael Schumacher. If you click on this here, explore in depth. Okay, and it's given us his interest over time as well. The region, so this region is Canada, and the related searches. So these gives you some other ideas of things that you can put on your site as well. But we've been through the main ones. We want to go to trending searches, and we want to be writing articles on these, and we want to be putting trending videos on those every day as well. Okay, so once you have some content on there, the next thing you're going to want to do is monetize your site. And we're going to do that in the next video. But before we go, let's have a look at what our site looks like in the responsive design now. So here's what it looks like on a web browser. Now let's bring it up on a smartphone. Okay, so here we are on the smartphone. Here's each of our articles. We click on the article. Now keep in mind that this is an emulator, so it isn't quite showing things exactly how they'll show up. But there's our replies. Here's our menu here. So we have our recent articles, our archives, our categories, and our tags. Okay, so we got everything going correctly now. We have our site designed. It looks good. We have some content on it. So now what we're going to do is monetization. We'll do that next. Now we're going to look at monetization. We're going to be using passive monetization. So that's going to involve AdSense or some other pay-per-click service. So let's go to plugins and add new. Okay, so what the plugin we want is the one that was actually created by Google, called Google AdSense. So let's install now. So this one will put ads on your site. It'll be optimized for mobile devices if you're using a mobile device, and it will be optimized for your web browser when you're on a computer. Okay, so now what we need to do is go to settings for that. And then we go into AdSense. Now, fortunately, Google makes this really easy if you already have an AdSense account. All you have to do is go get started here. Then you need to sign in to your AdSense account if you already have one. Otherwise, you're going to have to get one first before you can do this part. So I'm going to sign into my AdSense account here. So now it's going to verify that you actually are the owner of this site. Okay, and then it comes back. And it's verifying the site now using Webmaster Tools. Okay, and here we go. So it gives you a little information about this. Now the great thing is that it can be used all automatically. You don't actually have to do anything. So let's go automatic mobile ads. And then we want to go over to manage ads here. And what it's going to do is analyze the site by itself, and then it's going to figure out where ads can go, or where it thinks ads should be. Okay, so it says analysis complete, and it found space to show ads. So let's click got it. Okay, so it's showing you it's going to put an ad here. And okay, so if we're happy with all that, let's just save. So ads are saved and activated, and if we now refresh our site, now the ads aren't going to come up right away because it hasn't crawled our site yet, but once it's finished crawling, we will start seeing ads pop up in the ad spaces that it's determined where we can have ads. Okay, so simple as that, you have AdSense on there. Now you don't have to use the automatic ad placement. You can do it manually in that plugin as well. Okay, so that's one sort of monetization you can put in. The other one is to use CPA networks. So something like Max Bounty, for instance. So when you have your site set up, you can go to one of these networks and you can apply there. If you don't already have one, if you don't already have an account. And then you can start putting CPA ads on there. The ones that convert the best are usually just an email submit. Okay, so you can use any type of PP, so you can use any type of CPA network that you want. You don't have to use Max Bounty. It just happens to be the one that I use. Okay, so then we can go and have a look through here. And what we want to do is find something that are going to interest most people. Usually when you get something with a lower amount for a lead, that's going to be something fairly simple for them to do, like fill out an email. If it's something like $80 or a very high amount, it's probably something to do with the sale. So you're going to want to stick with one of the ones that are lower. You'll see here that the EPC, these are how well they're converting. So you can sort these by clicking on here, and that'll sort it in the order of the highest converting to lowest converting, and vice versa if you click it again. Okay, so this is the highest to lowest EPC. So you can find the ones that are going to fit you the best in here by looking here and looking at what you have over here. And you want to be trying to use the ones that are going to convert well on a news type site. So these aren't people that are looking to buy. So keep that in mind. And then just look through and find one that you like. Now you can narrow it down further by coming up here to categories and picking something out of here that will more closely match. Now email submits are a good one, so let's click on that and narrow that down a bit. Okay, and then we have this sorted by EPC for email submits. Okay, so just find one here that you want to put on your site. I'm going to have a look at this iPhone 5S one here. So it pays $210, and it shows you up here what traffic type you're allowed. So it says mobile and banner are allowed. Okay, so we can go and have a look at what this looks like now. So we can click here to look at the landing page. And here it is here. Okay, so that all looks good to you. You can go ahead and get your code and we'll put it on there. Okay, so down at the bottom we can select the creative type. So a banner or a text links. Let's go to banners. So there's a 120 by 600, 160 by 600. So just pick the type that you want here. I'm going to go with a 300 by 250 and get the tracking code. And then I can just put this on my site. So copy back to our site. Now we need to determine where we're going to put it now. Let me just refresh this. Okay, so here's our AdSense ads down the left side here. Okay, so I want to put it up here, so I'm going to go into dashboard, and I'm going to actually have to modify the code of the site a little bit, so I can go to appearance and editor. And then I'm going to go to the header, which is the part right at the top. Okay, and then what I want to do is put it where the site content is. So I'm going to put it right under here and see how it looks. Go to the site and see, and there it is right there. Okay, so we could put some HTML in there to center it if we want. But you'll see now that we have the ad here and we have our ads on this side. So that's really all there is to monetizing it. There are other ways as well. If you want to explore them, you can try affiliate links and so on. But this is the passive way. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is traffic, and we'll do that in the next video. Now we're going to talk about how we start getting traffic to our site. Now remember, we are creating our site so that it is of interest to people right now because of what are trending in the searches. So having it on social media is going to be what's going to get you a lot of traffic because that is what people are going to be looking for. Okay, so what you want to do, first of all, is we need to put a social plugin on the site. So let's go to plugins and add new. This is so people can social bookmark our site and share it. And now we want to type in here social. Okay, and this is when we want social media feather. What this does is it will put icons on there for sharing and for following. And that's important because we want both of those, and I'll get to that in a sec, but let's activate the plugin. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a Facebook account, a Twitter account, and a Google Plus account if you want for this particular site. You probably already have them for other things, but you want to create one specifically for this site, and then you want to attach this social media plugin to that. So let's go down to settings and social media. Okay, so then you need to set this up the way you want it. You can probably just leave it at the defaults for the most part, but there's a lot of things in here that you can change. So these have to do with the positioning, where it's going to show up on the post. This is going to show either the sharing or the follow or both, depending on how you set it up. And then you can customize the look down here. So this is regular, you have gray fade effect, and so on. So you can set these all the way you want. And then down here, we have our icon sizes, resolutions, and when we go down further, we put in our Facebook sharing URL, our Twitter service. So there's all our Twitter stuff, and here's our Google Plus. Okay, if you have Reddit, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Tumblr, so all of these things, you can put these all in there if you want, or any combination thereof. Okay, so set that up the way you want and save your changes. All right, let's go have a look at our site now. I haven't really set this up properly, but we should be able to see it showing up here. Okay, so here they are. Okay, and part of the markup in there is for sharing and for following. So this is share, and this is find us or follow us. Okay, so you can set the markup on there as is needed. But these are important because once we get traffic on here, it's important that we get the people to follow us as well so that they will be able to get any updates when we post to this site every day. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is you need to be posting to all of those social media accounts. So make sure that you post to all those social media accounts every day with hashtags that have to do with the post that you have put on your site. So after every post, you want to go and do a tweet and a Facebook post, Google Plus, Pinterest, and LinkedIn or wherever else you want to post it. And then the last thing you want to do is go to Stumble Upon and stumble the post. That way it'll show up to random people, and of course it's going to be of interest because of trending topics. Okay, so this is an important part because it'll get you traffic immediately. So we start stumbling just to show you how it works here. Okay, and you can sign up, you can connect it to your Facebook account, and you could use the one that you just set up for your new site, or you can sign up using your email address. If you already have one, then you can just log in. Okay, now I'm not going to go through too much about Stumble Upon, but you basically set up an account and then you can share the page. So what we would do is go back to our site here, and then we would go to the post we want to share. We're not going to do this site-wide, we do this post-wide. So every time we make a post, we get the URL by going to the page and then copying it from the browser bar. Then we go back to StumbleUpon, put the web page address in here. If it's WorkSafe, select an interest. Okay, so for this one, celebrities is a good one. But whatever it is, you want to get the appropriate one out of here. Okay, add tags. So we could put the name of the person in there that the video's on. So Enrique may dance. Okay, and then a description here, which is optional. So we'll copy that, paste, and add the page. Okay, so this will start getting traffic as it goes through the StumbleUpon network. As people go through Stumble, they'll like it or dislike it, and you'll start getting traffic from that. Okay, so that's how you do it. We've been through all the steps, so all you have to do now that you have everything set up is make daily posts on the topics and the videos that are appropriate. Make sure that every time you make a post, you go and stumble it and tweet on it, put it in Facebook and any other social network you're using. And that's going to get you lots of traffic to your site and clicks on your ads and some leads through your CPA offers.